Welcome back, everyone, to the SLTV Star Series Season 1 LAN Finals. So, we're back for the last match of the day, and we're onwards to Kolento versus Cipher.
Well, potentially the last match of the day. If Kolento does win this game, we have a tiebreaker, which needs to be resolved through matches.
Right, we're going to have a tiebreaker three-way tie between Dog, Kolento, and StarSeries. They will have to fight one another, so we have 3 matches guaranteed going forward, and there's guaranteed to be at least for the first few matches, whoever's on top is going to be moving on. I mean, technically, I guess Dog could win versus StarSeries, Kolento could win versus Dog, and StarSeries could win versus Kolento, creating another three-way tie.
Infinite ties.
Yeah, or I think someone has to go 0-2. I'm not completely sure, but the 1-1s are possible.
But Cipher still has potential to cause a big upset here and crush the dreams of Kolento. So if Cipher plays exceptionally well and defeats Kolento, and even though Cipher is out of the tournament regardless, being able to beat someone like Kolento in tournament and taking that away from him will probably be quite an achievement for him, because he gets to defeat one of the top players in the world.
Right, it's even like it's really a crushing blow after the fact. Kolento did not end up in the BlizzCon field at all at the end there. He didn't make it, and as a result of that, this is a tournament where he at least wants to make sure he can win. It's hometown, as you said, the crush. Getting his dreams crushed would be a little disheartening. So anyway, we'll see what these players have to say before the match. We'll be right back.
Я играл многие их игры, Diablo, 1, 2, 3, StarCraft, даже более ранние игры, как Blackthorn. World of Warcraft не играл, но Warcraft играл во все 3. Я был в мастер-лиге, в топ-мастер-лиге максимум. Тоже пытался в StarCraft играть профессионально, немного, но я понимал, что не дотягиваю. У меня АПМ был очень маленький, в районе 100. Что для профессионального игрока, недостаточно. Я только знаю одного игрока, который смог турнир выиграть с таким маленьким АПМ, это Джоу. И он сейчас играет в Hearthstone тоже.
Kolento, are you telling me you don't need APM for Hearthstone?
Apparently not. I mean, you can click that hero power as much as you want, but there's no speed needed. Kolento didn't really make it as a StarCraft pro, but he did find kind of his call in Hearthstone, but before he played Hearthstone, he was actually playing World of Tanks.
And he was the best player, I think, in that game.
Really?
Or at least at the very top of the ladder. And the same for Prismata as well, a card game, which I think he is actually the best player.
So there's actually a lot of skills Kolento has in gaming in general, not just limited to Hearthstone.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really surprising at all when you look at the way analytical he is about Hearthstone. I'm not surprised this is transitive from other games, maybe, and he would have excelled in those too. As far as Cipher goes, I'm sure he's got some stuff to say as well, so we'll listen.
I think my favorite class is Rogue. I'm very sad because it's not actually in the meta right now. I can't actually play it competitively, but it's the first class I ever built a deck for, and I've loved all the playstyles of Rogue. I love the Miracle Rogue, I love Oil Rogue, I love the kind of the cycle a lot, then huge burst potential as a finisher. SI7 Agent is hands down my favorite card. It's just such high value and such a big tempo swing in the early game. Following the meta, I'm actually a very standard player. I don't like to break the rules. I tend to bring the most common decks. I think it's a good thing I'm sort of popular with the teammates I am. I've got a lot of very experimental teammates who push me to try different decks. And often when they finally convince me to play something new, it ends up working out better. But yeah, I think following the meta is the safest route. But trying new decks has the potential. It can win you series and it can lose you series. Do you think Patron will have a future after the Warsong Commander nerf? This is actually something we've been talking a lot because it's new, very new, and some pro players think it's still going to have a place as an anti-aggro deck. I don't think it's going to be good enough without the Warsong Commander to be a viable and competitive play. It's just going to have a 0% win rate against decks like Handlock and Freeze Mage, which I think makes it sort of unplayable. I think it's very interesting they've done this right before BlizzCon, because it's going to reward the better deck builders, because the meta is going to completely change. Patrons dictate the meta a lot, as people are going to have to come up with new lineups, new decks, and I think some players are better than others at that by a lot. And so, yeah, it'll be very interesting. I think it's going to make watching BlizzCon. Very, very interesting. If I could change anything in Hearthstone, the first thing I would do is I would smash the Conquest format and make sure it never appears again. I think it's very bad for competitive play. It creates RNG before the matches begin, before you're even in game, and I dislike that. And the other card I would change is Mad Scientist. I think that's a broken card. At very least, I'd make it a 2-1, comparable to Loot Hoarder. I played StarCraft for a long time, and I wasn't top tier, but I was very, very good. And it's partly what contributed to my wrist injury, which sort of stopped me from playing and fencing and doing all my other hobbies.
So as much as I agree about the Mad Scientist, I'm more interested in what he has to say about the Conquest format.
He doesn't like it. He thinks it should be smashed into oblivion and never seen again.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, share the same concerns. It's an issue that's been brought up multiple times in the past, but I think at this point, Conquest seems to be established enough for Blizzard. I mean, they did promote the format themselves. If anything, I suspect we will see modifications of Conquest. The inclusion of bans, maybe a sideboard idea. I'm not too sure where things will go, but definitely pro players have brought up the issue frequently.
I do like the idea of Blizzard changing the competitive format every year because it creates more excitement. It lets players really flex their abilities to adapt to meta games, deck building. We might see a completely different format next year depending on what Blizzard want, but Conquest is with us now. I've enjoyed it. It does have its flaws, but overall, I've been happy with it.
Yeah, the ban that we have in this tournament, at least, I'm very happy with it. It makes for a very diverse array of games as people have different strategies as far as what they want to ban. Kolento here has his warrior ban, and so does Cipher. So Kolento with the Hunter, Paladin, same as Cipher, except Kolento has the Tempo Mage, where Cipher has a Druid.
And Druid could fall short to that Tempo Mage or this lineup in general, but as Orange proved, Druid can still win. No, he beat the Warrior, actually, my apologies, but Druid can win that match. It's not unwinnable, because Druid can ramp out, they can cheat out stuff really easily with those Innovates, those Wild Growths, and swing out control, but overall, it's generally a bad matchup.
Right, the Aspirants help a lot for board control early on, but again, Secret Paladin is a really difficult matchup to just go through. Swipes help a lot, but you really have to draw properly. It's funny how Druid, to me, feels like the class that whenever I think about it, it is the class that I feel is the most dependent on its early draw.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Every other class, I feel like they could get on with just about anything, but Druid, in order to work, they have to get something specific.
Cheating minions out definitely helps Druid a lot, being able to ramp up. Ramping is super important because the whole deck is based on getting those kind of 4 to 5 drops onwards. It does have the Shades, it does have the new inclusion of Aspirants, but they're not the power plays of Druid. They're kind of the build-up plays.
And now Cipher has the coin with an Innervate. Kolento, no early game. He's going to get pressured out by Cipher here if Cipher gets and wants to go for a very aggressive opener.
Coin Aspirant seems fine because you get to play the Shade straight after. If you get a Frostbolt out of it, you still got an Innovate, but a Keeper's not that great. You'd want to find a Shredder. Yeah,
I mean, the drawback, I think, with coining out the Aspirant would be that your Shade... if there's a Frostbolt, you don't get to play the Shade, right? That's the big issue, and then your following turn is pretty much null. But, alternatively, if there's no Frostbolt, you win. Well, not you win, but you just take the game by storm very early. It's very difficult for the Mage to recover from that.
It's so good for you. It's too good not to do it sometimes. Exactly. And even if you can't play around Frostbolt forever, if he doesn't have Frostbolt, it's just awesome. You get to ramp up, you get to cheat some minions out, which is what Druid wants to do. Frostbolt does come down, clearing up the Aspirant. I can't remember if Kolento actually kept in his hand, but I'm pretty sure he probably did, because you do these days. You need to keep it against Druid just to slow down the ramp.
So I would have maybe liked to see Cipher wait and not play the Aspirant on the coin, because if Kolento plays a 2-drop on turn 2 instead of Frostbolt, then you have the Keeper of the Grove to answer it with Innervate. I think that was a good reason maybe to wait, but Kolento finds Mana Worm off the top with a Unstable Portal and a Dark Cultist, notably difficult to handle as Druid.
That's a really good Unstable Portal. Not only can he play it now, when it does die, if it doesn't get silenced, or doesn't get killed in the right order, he could buff this Mana Worm, and this Mana Worm could become really threatening. But the 3-4 body is the most important thing here, having a very stable early body on turn 3.
And Kolento picks up an Arcane Intellect, has the Mad Scientist. Which would you go for here? I kind of like Mad Scientist because it gives you the ability to develop that Mirror Entity earlier. than if you just wait. And you can also just follow up with another minion afterwards. But the Arcane Intellect, it gives your Mana Worm a bit more attack and gives you more options to use immediately.
I think playing the Arcane Intellect to draw more cards is great. Buffing the Mana Worm doesn't really matter, you're not trading or anything. Right. But developing more board is super important, I think. But the 3-4 does give him a bit more leverage, give him a bit more breathing room, and will let him allow to draw some more cards and find some more answers to things that are going to come up.
Cipher finds a really good card in Loatheb here. He could go and probably should go for the Innervate Emperor Thorson. That's my guess.
Oh yeah, for
It
sure.
looks like an amazing time to do so. It's not that you're very happy to get what you have in hand out earlier. It's just that it's a threat that the opponent has to answer to, which means it's going to take some time away from him, right? He's not going to be happy about having to answer it. And then you can follow it up with Loatheb. You've got a cheap Ancient of Lore to follow up with after Loatheb. Everything seems to line up if you play the Emperor.
And it hits some really good stuff as well. It hits Ancient of War, hits Ancient of Lore, hits Loatheb. It hits some high-value minions, which you'll be able to play a little bit cheaper. Gets a trade nicely there into the Mana Worm with the Shade of Naxxramas. And this 5/5 will need a little bit more to be taken out by just this Dark Cultist.
Yeah, Fireball should do it, and he's going to be pretty happy to do it. I mean, Kolento gets a decent trade here, but Cipher with the Loatheb is going to be able to deny spells from being played, or alternatively, you can go for Keeper of the Grove and be perfectly fine.
Yeah, Keeper of the Grove, he wants to ping off that Sorcerer's Apprentice. Loatheb, lock out the spells, again reduces the effectiveness of the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Yeah. What would you prefer?
I think I like the Loatheb a lot more, and the only reason I say that is because when I'm looking at my Ancient of War, if a mirror entity drops, by the time the Ancient of War comes out, if a mirror entity hits the board, then I can't really play my Ancient of War. Whereas if I go for Loatheb now, no mirror entity can possibly come out unless Kolento, kills his own Mad Scientist somehow. I think this is a safer way to get the Ancient of War out.
Nice protection from that secret there. And because he didn't develop the Mad Scientist earlier, the only way he's going to be able to do it is kill his own Mad Scientist, which is going to be super hard to do without any spells.
Yeah, and you can't even cast them. So basically Cipher secured the Ancient of War on the following turn, which I love.
Double Scientist? Okay.
Putting on a lot of pressure, though. Kolento is forcing Cipher into really awkward spots. Now let's hope Cipher does not make the mistake of somehow killing a Mad Scientist before he plays the Ancient of War. Well, does that change anything for him here? I don't think so.
Doesn't really line up anything different, does it? Because even if he went for kind of a Shredder Keeper turn, which isn't as good as, say, an Ancient of War or Ancient of Lore, it wouldn't be very mana efficient. Drop the 5/10 taunt here. We'll be able to stall Kolento for at least a little while. Seen a Fireball and a Frostbolt so far, so he's used a lot of kind of direct damage removal to deal with some of the stuff from Cipher so far.
So if you kill, let's assume you kill the Sorcerer's Apprentice, your 5/1 will get pinged, which means the Mage has only 5 mana left over to deal with your Ancient of War. You expect there to be a mirror entity by the time your next turn hits, right? Because there will be a Mad Scientist sacrifice. This makes it so the Mage can't use a ping. This absolutely prevents Kolento from using Hero Power to kill, but he's got a lot of alternatives in his deck.
Arcane Missiles, not going to really do... Oh, I mean, it will.
It's going to do a lot of work here with the Flame Waker.
Definitely will if it kills the Loatheb, but still relying on some RNG. Arcane Blast actually makes things really good for him here because he can actually clear up the Loatheb on its own.
That's a full board clear, actually, for Kolento.
Oh, yeah, because Arcane Blast... yeah, potentially, yeah. Let's have a look. One.
Oh, good enough. I mean, it triggers the Flame Waker, which is more than what he needs here. Arcane Blast lets him keep even more minions alive. Wow.
Oh, wow. That lines up perfectly as well. He can still ping and gets another secret. So 2 secrets come from Kolento there.
Duplicate a mirror entity. We know that for a fact for having seen him in the past, but that basically means that Cipher's out. There's nothing he can get here that's going to stop the onslaught coming from Kolento. I can't imagine... Maybe a piloted Shredder into Innervate Druid of the Claw to kill the Shredder and hope for a Doomsayer. But I don't
Whenever
think so.
you go for that, you know things are bleak.
Yeah. If that's your best line of play, then it's not a good position for you.
Innovate Druid of the Claw into Taunt here to try and hold back the aggression from Kolento here. Don't think it'll be enough though.
I think it might buy him a turn, though. He will get the extra turn, that's for sure. But of course, he's worried about anything. Frostbolt, Fireball, Arcane Blast, Flame Cannon, anything really goes at this point.
And keeping the Flame Waker alive as well could really influence this next turn. Actually going to go for the heal, I think.
Good enough.
I like that. A bit more mana efficient as well with the Innovate. Can save the Druid Claw to maybe stop some more aggression. Dr. Boom comes on the top there for Kolento. Even more pressure.
I feel like the Azure Drake, you could find lethal off of it, but because of the way the game's panning out, it doesn't really matter if you find it right now, or if you wait a bit and just put more pressure through Dr. Boom. So definitely the better play here.
I don't think there's any way out for Cipher here. Too much on the board for him to deal with, and not enough protection, especially with 6 health left. Can't even go for a cheeky Doomsayer Shredder because there's no Shredder on his side. So game number 1 goes to Kolento. Kolento a little bit closer to getting that tiebreaker round robin, which he desperately wants to stay in this tournament.
Yeah, that's clear. I mean, it's getting late here. These players have been playing for the entire day at this point, and if there's a 3-way tiebreaker, Dog and StarSeries, they're waiting for that, right? Technically, they could have gone home, but because of the possibility of the tiebreaker, they've been hanging around, and they could be exhausted at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, waiting around, playing your matches, very skill, mental, intense games sometimes can take it out on the player, especially someone who's been here all day like them, and add an extra game. Well, 2 games at each of them.
Right, exactly. Each of them will be playing 2 games against the other player, so it will take its toll, I'm sure, on their mental fatigue. And Kolento has the better hand against Cipher here. We don't exactly know how it's going to pan out, but the Secret Keeper as an opener is definitely something you're happy to see.
Yeah, but he's got that turn 1 minion. I mean, was that a Noble Sacrifice I saw? It was, yeah. So Noble Sacrifice is not too bad for a turn 1 play, but, really slow. Sludge Belcher, Paladin Shredder, they're not going to be seen play for a while. Mister of Battle still has another turn to go. He needs a 2-drop. Secret Keeper, that's not too bad. At least it's a minion, but Shielded Minibot is definitely something you'd rather see.
I mean, the Secret Keeper, if it had come a turn earlier, right, he would have ordered this turn much, very differently. What this does is that if Kolento decides to play a Secret to buff up his own Secret Keeper, then Cipher's Secret Keeper will also benefit from it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that benefits Cipher because it kind of levels the playing field. Actually, the playing field's more in his favor because he has the Secret down already.
Exactly. So Kolento, if he decides to go for a Secret play, will end up benefiting Cipher as a side effect. So there's a chance that he just decides not to. But there's if you use your Secret, the upside to that really is that you're also at the same time giving your Secret Keeper the ability to survive the Noble Sacrifice.
Another thing to consider as well, if you just play Haunted Creeper and pass, you can't buff... Cipher can't buff his Secret Keeper to trade into Kolento's Secret Keeper because they both gain the same buffs, because it stays quite neutral, and then he has the Haunted Creeper to use on the Noble Sacrifice, and then he can maybe plan around...
coin Blessing of Kings on turn 3 instead of having nothing to do.
Exactly, so that's something else he could have went for. Instead he develops a Secret of his own.
Oh goodness.
Buffing, buffing, buffing.
I like that play from Kolento. This is no Noble Sacrifice needed. You just play the Avenge and scare your opponent. And now Cipher has to answer to a 2-1 Secret Keeper. He's not going to be very happy to smash himself into it. And the moment he kills something, the other minion gets buffed up.
So Kolento's saying, you need to do something about this. I've dealt with your Secret. What have I put down?
Yeah, so if you're Cipher here, Redemption would make you not want to kill the Haunted Keeper. That's a given. Would Kolento play a Redemption with a Secret Keeper on board? Maybe not, right? That's a big question. If it's Noble Sacrifice, it doesn't matter either way. You just attack and check for it. If it's Repentance, it doesn't matter. Avenge is really the big deal. Avenge and Redemption are the 2 things you're most worried about.
And sequencing is really important here for Cipher, because if he decides to attack with a Secret Keeper and it's Noble Sacrifice, he can attack for his weapon then, or he can go for his weapon first. He's got
weapon first sounds really, really sweet.
So yeah, go for your weapon first, see what it is. He actually goes for face here, so he doesn't target anything specifically, in case he was to proc the Avenge. So now he knows it's not Noble Sacrifice, potentially Avenge, potentially Redemption. Even Repentance, he hasn't played a minion, so still a big question mark, literally, for Cipher there.
Yeah, Cipher knows what it is, though. I mean, I have to assume he's got some insight as to what you would play here. I mean, Repentance seems like it would be a risk, right? This early in the game, if a smaller minion comes out, then you really don't get too much value out of it. It may be more for a temple play to empty your hand for Divine Favor. But overall, Cipher, I think, making the good call here, going face, doesn't want to, you know, when you don't have to try to defuse the bomb right now. You can wait a little longer.
He has time, and he's got a bigger board at the moment. Another Secret Keeper is going to come down. I wonder if Noble Sacrifice is going to join it. No, just a Hero Power. So he's trying to match the board, and he can trade at least one of these guys away, and maybe Secret Keeper can go face.
What I like about Cypher's play, though, the more I think about it, is because he's got the Paladin Shredder in his hand, he's also playing around Repentance at the same time. It may not look like much, but the Paladin Shredder is not weak to Repentance the way that another minion might be. So by just going face, he says, if it's Repentance or Avenge, I'm not worried about those, because Paladin Shredder will just eat the Repentance and Avenge will never trigger.
So does he actually test for it? If that was his game plan, you would just slam Shredder here and say, right, Repentance, if you're there, hit me. If you're not, I'll just go face.
Yeah, you've got to reevaluate, you know, where, like, what happens if there's such a thing as an Avenge, right? If I kill the 1/1 and Avenge triggers, if it hits the Spider, then I'm happy, right? Because it just goes up to 3 health, and I can handle that. If it hits the Secret Keeper, then the Shredder contests it quite nicely.
Hits the Spider.
I think that's rather good for Cipher. He's going to opt to kill the Secret Keeper. Is he? Well, now that's interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. He had the opportunity to pop the Spider, but maybe he just feels that giving him 2 1/1s isn't that great either. I might as well just get rid of the minion that isn't as sticky.
Alright, so Kolento here with the option to, you know, pop the Shredder, get 2 1/1s, consecrate. He's going to lose one of his 1/1s he knows for a fact to the Lights Justice that Cipher has equipped. But if one of them lives, he can use Blessing of Kings on it.
Yep, and that would be great. Then have a 5/5, put some more pressure, even put pressure on the Sludge Belcher in Cypher's hand. It's interesting to see how these players have built their Paladin decks, because they've all built them very differently. You know, Ty's bringing the Zombie Chows, Cipher bringing the Sludge Belchers.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all drawing from the inspiration they have in the team that they play with. I mean, Ty's definitely took inspiration from RDU, who told him, you know, that deck is good, and apparently they playtested quite a bit beforehand. Oh, wow, Kolento with the Blessing of Kings, just putting all the pressure here, forcing Cipher to go all in on removing this, but Cipher won't have an issue at all.
That Spider started off quite small, but now it's huge.
I mean, if you go for Secret Keeper...
Competitive Spirit?
I mean, I like Knife Juggler into... Yeah, I mean, I really do like that. The thing is, do you play Secret Keeper before Competitive Spirit or not? Because if you wait to pop the Spider first, like say you go Competitive Spirit here, you drop the Juggler, then you trade your Secret Keeper and your Powdered Shredder away, then you can play Secret Keeper and get an extra knife to guarantee you clean up the spiders.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point actually.
That's the only difference I think that...
So he needs to assess what's more valuable to him, killing the Spider or buffing a Secret Keeper, or playing a Belcher.
Or, you know, forcing Kolento to run himself into a 3-5 with Taunt. Yeah, it's funny how the obvious play just flies by.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking for the more complicated answers, whereas Cypher's like, well, you still have 2 pieces of a Sludge Belcher to punch through.
Yeah,
hope you have a silence.
Kolento's got himself a really decent top deck for next turn, to say the least.
Yeah, a lot stronger than Cypher's hand at the moment. And it's amazing how Mysterious Challenger can really change and swing these games out of control.
Kolento's still okay. He's buffing the Secret Keeper and killing it off with Consecration. Cypher, he's got a Shredder. He will have to check for secrets. Again, Redemption's an issue. If he ends up attacking first to the face with the Lights Justice like he's done earlier, he's going to be fine because he's going to see that it's a Noble Sacrifice and nothing else.
Yep, he's going to test it.
He's going to be rewarded for it because now he's almost guaranteed to get a good play.
It's crazy how this Lights Justice influences the mirror match so much.
Yeah, it's one. I think it's a thing that we don't talk about nearly enough, right?
I mean, the Lights Justice not only clears a lot of minions of the Paladins, but it tests the traps really efficiently as well.
50-50 here to stay alive and not lose anything, otherwise Kolento's gonna... Oh! Cipher with the cards! That is definitely a way for Cipher to get it in and win.
A lot of burst damage from Cypher's hand as well with that Blessing of Kings. Of course, Mysterious Challenger is going to create some complications.
At least it's not Repentance, right? Kolento must be breathing a sigh of relief about that one.
Low fab.
That's a card I mean, it's a really good card to get on the board to deny the opponent the ability to play spells, but Blessing of Kings, on the other hand, is also really interesting. I mean, I'd be happy, I think, to play Blessing of Kings to deny the big minion that will be the Mysterious Challenger after the fact.
I mean, you could swing it with a 2/2. Hits the get down dies, redemption. You can develop a dude, see if the knife hits it. If it does, great. If it doesn't, you could chuck a Blessing of Kings on something and trade, or you could go on the aggressive. I mean, how is Kolento going to find an extra 10 damage from hand?
Right, because that's exactly what we're looking at here. We see this 8 health Mysterious Challenger. It just dies to, you know, you can buff the 5/2, you can buff the Secret Keeper. Pick one, right? Lose whichever one you value the least, which I think technically would be the 5/2.
And Lofeb will lock out something like Blessing of Kings from Kolento's side.
Repentance hits.
But he knew, though. He must have known. It must be part of the grand scheme.
I have to say, Cipher's not worried one bit about an AoE because he's played a Lothab.
So now Kolento needs to find 7 damage. Oh, another Mysterious Challenger.
Although he's got no more secrets to help himself because he's already played a lot of them, and Cipher equalizes 1-1.
So Cypher's not out of this yet. He still can be the Crusher of Dreams.
Yeah.
An official title he can claim. Like in World of Warcraft, you get these titles, you have your name and you have a title underneath. I think Cipher would take that.
Cipher, Crusher of Dreams. The Ukrainian Lord. I'm not sure if we can rename that. I mean, we did go to a castle, right?
Yeah, well,
a castle. That's a big word, I guess, but it was something of a castle.
it was awesome, though, to be fair. It was quite an experience. Getting to experience kind of the history of Ukraine, going back to the medieval times. And you had fun as well, running around with your dual shields.
I absolutely did. Dual shield was great. I don't think we saw any footage of me dual shielding, though.
You were shield blocking, shield slamming, shield blocking, shield slamming. You had a thing going.
I was a control warrior for a bit. Playing Magni Bronzebeard, of course. So Cipher with the good hand here. Kolento is going to retry his hand at the Secret Paladin, but Cipher finally, for his Druid, picks up a hand that's likely to give him an early advantage.
Keeper of the Grove has a lot of targets, silence and pinging, so that's going to be very useful. Of course, the ramp is going to stay in his hand. He mulliganed the 1 card. I'm curious to what he'll find. Kolento, on the other hand, keeps the muster, keeps the Secret Keeper, so he has a 1 and a 3 at least going on the curve.
Yeah, so Cipher picks up a Paladin Shredder. That's an amazing card for him to have here. And unfortunately for Kolento, you know, usually Divine Favor might be amazing, but in this case, Cipher has a good way to just empty his hand turn after turn.
And Cipher also has a lot of utility. 2 Keepers of the Grove, used for silence and pinging. Double the ramp as well. He actually got punished for coining Aspirant against a Mage.
Right.
So maybe that's what he's considering here, but it's a lot safer against Paladin, especially if they're not on the coin.
The only way that Kolento is able to deal with this is if he has 2 secrets, right? He makes the Secret Keeper a 3/4, but that's not exactly likely. It's not something I think you can afford necessarily to play around too much, because you know it's not something that's going to happen often. Now he gets a Wild Growth to secure the ramp, also takes care of the Secret Keeper in the process. I like that.
Yep, very solid stuff from Cipher here. Gets to guarantee that a Keeper of the Grove or Paladin Shredder can come out next turn with that Wild Growth. Regardless of what happens to this Aspirant, she's done her job.
Yeah, one thing to note though is that Kolento is going to be curving in very nicely into a Blessing of Kings, and Cipher needs to find a swipe here if he wants to dodge that fate. Keeper of the Grove maybe will come out. There's a chance as well that he opts for the Shredder. Not necessarily a bad idea.
He's got 2 Keepers of Groves in hand. I don't think there's a problem expending 1. You do deal with one of the threats, which is the 2/2. This guy can generally trade into a few of them before it goes down, so I like the Keeper of the Grove with the Shredder there. Coghammer.
Does that change much? I mean, I think Blessing of Kings is overall very solid here. If there were a swipe, you might have seen it last turn. So Kings looks like a very safe play. That's a very easy read to make, I think, after what you've seen.
Well, after you see a Keeper of the Grove, you think, right, my King should be safe. He's going to need something like a Wrath or a Swipe to deal with that. Speaking of Wrath.
Well, that's a card for Cipher. It's going to buy him some time, and Kolento has nothing but a Paladin Shredder. Then again, think about the fact that Kolento is going to be curving with a Shredder on 5 and Coghammer Divine Favor on 6 if he wants to.
But Wrath is clunky.
I mean, it's clunky, but you do kill 2 minions. I mean, I guess you could play Keeper of the Grove and silence off the 5-3. I don't necessarily disagree with that line of play. It's something you can definitely consider. Druid of the Claw would allow you to trade into the 5-3 and a 1-1, again, playing a little bit more to your mana efficiency and wait for turn 6 for Keeper of the Grove Wrath or Shredder Wrath. I like that.
It looks like he just wants to get rid of this 5-3 off the board and clear up the 1-1. I mean, he can play a little bit slow now. Kolento doesn't have much power on the board. It's not under too much threat, and he's got some nice things coming up. Druid of the Claw, another Keeper, Ancient of Law. So Druid's not looking too bad right now.
Yeah, Druid's, I mean, the way Cipher's hand lined up really gave him a big advantage, and the Noble Sacrifice, really good card for Kolento here, is going to protect the 1-1 that could otherwise die to the Hero Power. Cipher will also be a bit wary. He knows it's not Redemption, because why would you play Redemption on a board with a 1-1?
Another thing as well, it lets him thin his hand even more, so Divine Favor will hit more cards and he'll get more value from it. So not a bad draw off the top there.
Yeah, I think Cipher, if he wants to, he could go for a Shredder, check for Repentance, right? You don't want to run into Repentance in a situation like this one, so you go Shredder first. Worst case scenario, it does take up the Repentance, and then you innervate out the Keeper. You empty your hand, as you said, protected against Divine Favor, and you can also silence off the Paladin Shredder. I think that's a play you might want to make.
Yeah, Divine Favor is something you definitely have to consider this Druid. You want to make it as less efficient as possible. Unfortunately, Ancient of Law, because Kolento can just hold on to it until that Ancient of Law comes down, but it looks like he's actually just going to test the trap first with the Hero Power.
So Kolento is going to get himself a decent Divine Favor, which I think he'll be very comfortable with. I mean, you see Cipher here, probably going for the Shredder. Kolento has exact mana efficiency, and he'll draw 4 cards. 3 cards after this. I think it's good enough.
Must have a battle, so more pressure.
You choose which one you play, right? Coghammer might be good only because it lets you maybe trade with the Paladin Shredder. Is there a reason ever to go trade the 1-1, then Coghammer, finish off what comes out of the Shredder with your weapon?
Yeah, I like that, actually. You do lose a card from the Divine Favor, but you could even hold on to Divine Favor.
I mean, you get all the cards, right? You still get everything you'd like to have.
Oh, we've seen that Pint-Sized Summoner work for some players this weekend already. He's going to probably clear that up with just the Divine Shield. Yeah,
I'm a little scared for Kolento if he doesn't clear. It's a card that's it's potentially game-winning on its own. Cipher, if the Divine Shield doesn't come off after Kolento attacks, could just opt for a Keeper of the Grove play, right? You just go Keeper of the Grove, and then you innervate out Druid of the Claw, set it up as a taunt, and you're golden.
Yeah, that'd be a very high-value silence, hitting the Coghammer and the Death Rattle effect at the same time. Kolento is considering it. Oh, he looks like he's just going to go face here.
And here we go. Cipher's getting himself a good opportunity to silence. Picks up a swipe for defensive purposes. I don't know if he needs it just yet, but it will come in handy for sure down the line.
So, silence just seems amazing here. I don't see why you wouldn't do it. You'll have an Innovate to go, and like you said, you could do the Druid of the Claw, which I think is great as well. Just creates a nice firm wall in front of Kolento, and he has to find some more answers from his hand.
I mean, there's also the Druid of the Claw. I mean, it's kind of weak to a Consecration here if you're playing it like this. This is the one thing I'm a little worried about here from Cipher. Because right now he loses his entire board to Consecration. It's a massive overextension, and he's going to get punished very severely here for not killing off that Paladin Shredder. He could have opted for a simple swipe or Hero Power trade.
Yeah, Swipe would have been good as well, but Swipe finds more value from Muster for Battle, so maybe he's just holding out just to make sure Muster for Battle doesn't go unchecked.
Yeah, no, definitely. The Muster for Battle #2 is not something you want to toy with. Plus, it deals with the 2-1s that stay with Noble Sacrifice after the Mysterious Challenger falls on the board. Helps with Dr. Boom as well, so Cipher's play here I think is very consistent with his game plan.
So Consecrate.
Yeah, with Creeper or Muster for Battle, both are good. I mean, the board from Cipher's gone, but he has the swipe, as you said, as insurance against anything that might come his way.
I think we saw the Muster for mana efficiency here. I like it. You do lose 2 damage on that weapon, but you just create another weapon, so it's no problem.
Now, if you're Cipher, would you ever just play Ancient of Lore? I feel like it's actually overall better.
Yeah, for sure. You can swipe next turn. Yeah. The 1/1s are not going to do too much. They need the Blessing of Kings to really
Famous
be a threat.
last words.
Cheeky Quartermaster pops out of the deck now.
And Kolento keeps drawing secrets and no challengers. This is the worst case scenario for him. Now, he gets the opportunity to kill off the 5/5 with his weapon, but that means he's like surrendering the offensive if he goes for the trade. And if he leaves the Ancient of Lore alive, he's going to be down to 1 health after a combo play.
1 health might be enough for him to go on the aggressive, though, if Kolento...
Actually, wait, with the True Silver, he's going to be a little higher than that, but yeah.
So, yeah, 3 health. So, if he wants to take the aggressive stance, I don't mind it here. Set the Avenge as well. Set the Repentance. Ask some questions to Cipher and put on the pressure, because he does still need to win the game. And right now, he doesn't have a challenger. So, I think... aggression isn't too bad. If he keeps trading, though, eventually the Druid will just outvalue if he starts getting more Taunters, more Sludge Belchers, stuff like that. It could be really tough to punch through him. Squeeze in the damage when you can if you're a Paladin, I think, because sometimes it's super hard to do it.
Alright, let's see if Kolento... I mean, trading is a very safe play, because you do have Avenge, which is going to guarantee damage output anyway. There's a really good argument to be made for just playing it somewhat defensively and staying very safe behind your wall of minions. Cipher has the swipe, though. And that swipe is good.
It'd be nice if we could pop open the Spider first.
Repentance on the Sylvanas. Ooh. That's good.
Yeah, it lets you steal something. 1/1 maybe not be too great, but it stops some pressure from Kolento, who's now in top deck mode. I need to find like a Mysterious Challenger or Dr. Boom to really swing things back in his favor.
I still feel like it's okay to play Sylvanas, right? I mean, Repentance is something you're more than happy to have Sylvanas tank. The question is it maybe better just to play the Shade into the Repentance? It's a hard call to make, I think. I mean, you're not dead next turn no matter what. You pretty much know that as Cipher. You feel like you've got time.
Just going to hit the Shade here. Maybe he just sees no value with the Shade. Maybe the 5/5 body just has too much going for it.
Right, I mean, the Shade does deny on its own the Repentance because she gets, +1 health every single turn. And as a result, it nullifies the power of the Repentance. And the swipe on Cipher's hand is giving him the ability to wipe the board afterwards.
A Mysterious Challenge is a good pickup here. 6/6 body. He won't find a tremendous amount of secrets because he has used quite a few already. But it might just be enough to give Kolento the momentum he needs to kind of find a win. He needs this card to really win. If you top deck, say, a Secret Keeper, it'd be looking pretty bleak because like Ancient of Lore could come down. There's potential combo coming up as well. Sylvanas poses a lot of threat on board as well, being able to steal.
Yeah, he's got to. That's the problem really. Kolento's running into right now is what happens if I play the Mysterious Challenger. Does he just find a way to steal, my good minion? Do I have to kill a Sylvanas before I play it? I mean, overall, I think it's a safe bet to just trade into the minion here. Or, just draw the Challenger and go on defensive.
This is really good, actually. Pop it over his Spider to make sure he just gets a 1/1, so he doesn't get any value from the Haunted Creeper. Yeah. Clears Sylvanas, gives a 1/1 to Cipher. Who am I? None of your business. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But now Cipher has, I want to say a perfect answer. I wouldn't say it's necessarily exactly that, but with the Force of Nature and the swipe together, I feel like he's got what he needs to just mitigate the damage that's coming his way. He could even go for Ancient of Lore, heal himself. There's definitely a few plays he can make.
I like Force of Nature because you can proc the get down. Hopefully the Avenge will hit. Well, anything really. Does it matter what it hits with the swipe?
Ideally you want it to hit the Challenger so that your 2/2s can actually deal with this. If you swipe first, you're guaranteeing that the Redemption triggers on the 1/1, which is no big deal, and the Avenge triggers on the big guy. Force of Nature guarantees that you're going to be able to kill it and the 2/1.
Good order, good sequencing.
Perfect sequencing from Cipher, yeah. The only thing left will be a competitive Spirit that
hits
not be doing very much. He's going to leave, I think, a 2/2 on the board.
And this is the opportunity for Cipher to really get
Actually,
ahead.
nothing on the board. I lied. Noxious lied.
So he's going to feel pretty safe now. I mean, this Paladin's not going to have any super burst coming from hand. It's not a Patron Warrior. It's not going to have Force of Nature. He could play the Ancient of Lore, draw some more cards, and hit it with Forison. Still has... Knife Juggler's pretty good, actually, because it could clear the Shade. But if it doesn't clear the Shade, it's going to look really good for Cipher. Oh, hits the Shade.
All right, Kolento's back in this. It's not over yet. Cipher, however, he's got the Ancient of Lore, right? It's not over by far.
Lore into Wrath would be amazing right now.
I mean, would you heal yourself ever in a position like this one, or is the top deck war not worth it? Oh, now...
Oh! Wrath, there it is. He finds it.
Yeah, Kolento not looking solid here. This is not what he wants. He's looking for Dr. Boom off the top. He's looking for the Tyrion, the Mysterious Challenger #2, if only for the 6/6 body.
Right, the Spirit's going to hit 1 minion here, making a little Silverhand Recruit into a 2/2, which is just not enough at the moment.
Kings helps a bit, but oh, Kolento,
What a whiff. Oh, man.
Now the question is, do you wait to get maybe Dr. Boom off of this? I feel like the redemption is not going to be good if you play it now.
There's no point in playing it now.
Oh, Kolento gives Cipher the win. Cipher is racing ahead. A tiny margin, mind you, it's not good. It's not an amazing lead. It's 2-1, but he only needs one more win, and he's got 2 attempts at making it work.
He is so close to crushing Kolento's dream here of coming back in the series. I mean, even if Kolento was to win this series, he still has 2 more games to play to guarantee a spot in for tomorrow. So this is just the start.
Yeah, and the Hunter from Cipher too, right? Like, think about the fact that Hunters are just amazing at winning games that otherwise don't look winnable. We know that Kolento's deck is a little bit more, if not a lot more, aggressive than Cipher's, which means technically Kolento has the edge.
Yeah, lining up the Hunter for Kolento here is really good. He knows that he could probably find a win here because he's a more aggressive Hunter. He's the face Hunter. And he can squeeze in that win, and then he can play the final game where a lot more is on the line and find the win with the Paladin. It's tough for Kolento regardless, but yeah, this is definitely the way to go. I would want to win from my Hunter first before playing my Paladin again.
And now Cipher is going to have to determine if he wants his traps. Knowing what the traps in his deck, knowing what he's running is going to help him determine whether the Mad Scientist, of course, is better than the Haunted Creeper. Oh, that's a good card for Kolento.
Yeah, Glavezuka is really good. He could develop just the Creeper if he wants, but I think Glavezuka is fine here.
Yeah, it gives him a really big edge in this position.
Push for damage, I like it. Go face.
I mean, Cipher...
Oh, he does actually trade. So that is Freezing Trap, right? I don't think Cipher has any surprises.
No, I think it is Freezing Trap, from what I recall. So Kolento, that's the reason why he attacked first. This is a decent minion for Kolento, but again, the Abusive Sergeant from the hand can deal with that very nicely. Plus, it will develop a trap. But it's Freezing Trap, nothing will happen.
Oh, it's Snake Trap with Leok.
Surprise! If Kolento goes for the abusive play, this could backfire.
Well, Leok will get taken out, but having those snakes down will give Cipher some board presence at least, and he can start putting some pressure.
Well, it won't be taken out if it was freezing, so Kolento might be worried about that.
So what do? Do you test? You have to test the trap with a minion, but if you test the trap with a minion, you can't clear the Leok.
I think Animal Companion is a 66% chance. Like, if it is Freezing Trap, then Mad Scientist soaks it. If it's Huffer, you can make the trade. If it's Misha, you're safe. So I think Animal Companion looks like a rather safe play overall.
Here we go. What's he gonna get?
Everything works.
It's Huffer.
It's always Huffer. Oh, checking for the snake. He knows what it is. He's not going to fall for that. And now, having defused that question mark, Kolento's just pushing. And
Kolento's never going to trade unless he has to now. It's just going to be all face.
Yeah, Houndmaster, though, would give a really good edge for Cipher. He does find something decent, though.
Glavezuka tanking 4 more damage from Huffer to the face. Never feels good.
Yeah, I feel like that's not really a viable option, I don't think.
No, you might have to just throw in the Leok here. Or maybe play a Knife Juggler and a Haunted Creeper. But you know from this point on, Kolento is never going to hit your minions unless you force him to through a taunt. So the Snake Trap may actually do nothing.
There's a chance that Cipher just trades with Leok into Huffer and then goes for Knife Juggler, like double Knife Juggler, and tries to force Kolento in a position where he's absolutely obligated to trade because the damage output is too big.
Oh, wow. It's not very often you see Hunters winningly tank.
It's a long-term game plan, man. It is a long-term game plan.
I don't know what it achieves, though. He's down to 14 health on turn 4 against a face Hunter. Wow.
Well, he got 1 extra damage on Leok, which will add up. It's also keeping Leok alive, which forces Kolento to be worried about every single minion coming out from now on. And there's a chance that Cipher can initiate the race if Kolento doesn't find a way to wipe the Leok.
Potentially. I mean, you can drop Eagle Hornbow here and swing for face, play a Leponome. That's a 5 damage guarantee. Just have the Leponome and first hit the Eagle Hornbow. Next turn, you hit me again with Eagle Hornbow, that's another 3.
Yeah.
So that's 8. Then squeeze in the hero power as well. It's just too much damage. It's just too much damage for this Hunter to deal with right now.
Let's see, Lothep. Lothep could be played here. I mean, it has a chance to kill the Leopardome, right? With the knife hit.
Potentially.
What would you do? Would you go for Knife Juggler Creeper and just try to put up as much damage on the board as you can and try to steal the game with a good top deck? Maybe.
Oh, what trap is this? Explosive!
Cipher!
So even more damage. Yeah,
that is it. He just leaves. All right. Kolento takes it. Well, I didn't know that was there.
Nope, I had no idea he was running explosive, but he's in a more aggressive Hunter deck. You do find them in there. So this is it. The last game, Kolento's last chance to be able to go into that round robin tie-breaking format to decide if he can go into the final day of the StarLadder tournament.
Right, we've got a possible tiebreaker here. Kolento needs to win if he wants that to happen. It was a very specific sequence. StarSeries had to lose. Kolento has to win. Otherwise, Kolento's out. Cipher with an amazing draw, though. It's very hard to beat this, no matter how you look at it.
That's incredible. High Master on coin as well, and so many beasts to target.
How scared are you if you're Kolento and your opponent keeps everything?
Pretty scared. You're thinking, oh man, he has a curve. Definitely Animal Companion, maybe a Knife Juggler, maybe a Scientist. Web Spinner for sure, because he's playing the mid-range Hunter.
That is an absolutely insane hand. I think all he's missing at this stage is something like an Ironbeak Owl, perhaps, an Unleash the Hounds to really have a defensive play in case something goes wrong. But other than that, he's on autopilot.
I'm surprised if Cipher actually throws anything away. I don't think he has. Has
he confirmed already.
He's already confirmed. So bam, confirmed. Done.
Yeah, there's no more green borders means I'm okay with this.
Thank you, Rexa. Yeah. I like these cards. Kolento still making decisions here.
Yeah, what Blizzard needs to do is make the mulligan private, because the fact that all the tournaments are so important for players, they will wait until the opponent has selected their cards before they, select their own. So there's really no reason for this to be public, really. Like you shouldn't be able to see what your opponent's keeping.
First secret comes down. That is an Avenge.
Yeah, Cipher's gonna have to figure that. Oh wow! Wow, the coin high main.
So he just curves out beautifully here. All the beasts, all the interactions.
Yeah, there's a drawback to curving out in that it's not... Oh, I was going to say not everything's amazing if mini-bot hits, but in this case, there's no drawback to just playing the Elec, right? Muster for Battle is your biggest worry.
You can test this now with the Web Spinner. Okay, probably Avenge. Just play the Elec.
Yeah, exactly. And if this is a 5-drop...
Oh... I don't think it's too bad, though. Consider his hand. His hand is just so good. If he had just hit another beast, another high drop, it would have been great.
Oh.
But not hitting anything is not too bad.
This is a top deck for, from the gods for Kolento.
He definitely needed this. And he does it, the sequencing really well. Is not popping his shield, using the 1 health of the Haunted Creeper. And bam, there we go. This Creeper is a bit more durable.
Alright, so do you expect a River Crocolisk coin Mad Scientist, or do you expect another play than that? I feel like the Houndmaster with a Snake Trap from Mad Scientist would do a lot of work if you get the River Crocolisk taunted up.
I like that, actually. Develop 2 2-drops, put some more pressure on this Divine Shield. You'll have to throw a Coghammer at the Scientist, but then you have the question of what Secret is. And unlike his last matchup, where Kolento could have avoided the trap and just gone face with the Face Hunter, with Paladin there will probably be a lot of more situations where he has to trade.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Kolento kill the River Crocolisk, right? Not wanting to give his opponent the ability to guarantee a Snake Trap. Alright, Kolento... Shielded Minibot Hero Power is a very standard play. I mean, he does have the Challenger ready as soon as the turn 6 hits.
Yeah, his Challenge is going to make a big influence. Although High Main will come down as well, but because Challenger comes down first, it might lock him out from playing High Main, because Kolento did go first, and High Main would get reduced to 1 health, which is not what you want on your High Main.
Right. I mean, the Glaive Zuka can help a lot with triggering the Noble Sacrifice, right? So that's like the first step. You play Glaive Zuka, if the Challenger ever hits, you trigger Noble Sacrifice, and then maybe the High Main can make a trade later on. But yeah, it will make things a little awkward.
And you're correct here, just go for the River Crocodile. Playing in Highmaster, not getting that secret out too easily. Speaking of Highmaster, another one shows up. Alright.
That's a bit difficult for Cipher. Actually, it's very difficult for Cipher, because if he throws away the Animal Companion, not only is he not curving, right? Like, Huffer is terrible, Misha is kind of alright, but really not that good. Leok is useless. It feels to me like you have to play Glaivezuka now, even though it's mediocre.
Yeah, it's not great.
Maybe Houndmaster on tempo, right? Like Glaivezuka Animal on turn 5.
I mean, he's got 2 Highmasters at least, so...
Yeah.
Having a 4-3 is not too bad. It looks like he's going to roll the dice here with the Animal Companion.
What is he trying to get?
Misha, I imagine.
Really? Okay.
I mean, Huffer doesn't do anything. He's going to have to proc the Avenge unless he just doesn't attack.
I feel like Houndmaster was maybe a better tempo play than just an Animal Companion, because you will need the Beast later on. So basically he's banking on this Leok surviving to enable the Houndmaster. I just don't think that's realistic. We'll see if he's able to pull it off. Right now, Kolento finding the True Silver gives him another good curve play. He's going to be able to deal with Leok, able to deal with the Mad Scientist. Cipher will have to find an Unleash to get this sorted out.
Yeah, things are just going in Kolento's way. We talked how good the mid-range hunter's hand was, the curve it had, but Kolento just had all the responses he need to deal with such a solid curve. True Silver just looks too tasty right now. Clear the Leok, get rid of the Beast, activate the trap, clear the Mad Scientist, play a Secret Keeper, have a nice board. And that 1-1 with Taunt sticks around, meaning once it does get popped, Avenge will go down, even increasing the power of your board off the Secret. So it just looks so good for him.
Yeah, Kolento, it feels like Kolento doesn't really have a bad play here, no matter what he does. There's a good reason maybe to optimize the Cog Hammer. I was going to say, maybe to optimize the Cog Hammer damage, which is what he decides to do in the end.
This is interesting.
Alright. And that trap is probably Snake Trap. Although he might be playing Freezing, right? Maybe it's 2 Freezings, 1 Snake, and Kolento is fully aware of that. And with that knowledge, is not going to play into it.
Shredder, it's green. It's sort of
it's not
right,
curve,
but it's something. It's sticky. It'll stick around. It might give him the leverage he needs to get back into this.
Kolento can't be thinking about that for too long, I don't think, with the Mysterious Challenger on the way. Another Snake Trap. He realizes not even Bear Trap. It's literally a Challenger turn.
Who am I? None of your business.
And Cipher without an Iron Beak Owl, even with Iron Beak, it's still very difficult. Without it, it makes it nearly impossible.
Oh man, this is just so brutal, and now Kolento can go on the offensive, knowing that Cipher only has 1 minion, so this guy should be tanking,
you know,
get down.
I feel like right now Cipher's best chance is to Glaivezuka down the Noble Sacrifice, smash the Shredder into the Mysterious Challenger, play a Houndmaster on the 2-drop beast that comes out from it, or he's never going to get out of this.
The guaranteed two
you got a few ones, right? Haunted Creeper, you've got the River Crocodiles that we saw earlier.
The Parrot.
The Pirate, yeah, the Parrot as well. You can get like a 1-1. I mean, there's a few cards that you can definitely get snakes off of.
Hyena.
Yeah.
So as well.
Scavenging Hyena.
I'm
sure there's a lot more that I'm not even thinking about, but yeah, it's not limited to... It's not as much a Hail Mary maybe as just playing high main, right?
Oh, it's just so rough. Just goes for the high main, taken down to 1 health.
He's probably going to be able at least to get himself the Houndmaster on the high main or one of the Hyenas. But with Competitive Spirit, the amount of damage Kolento has might just be lethal. 11 plus another 7, 8, 9. He's got 20.
That's Blessing of the Kings easily finds lethal there.
Good game. Kolento has it.
You know, I think this match would have went a lot differently if Cipher went first.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure, because that Jaime would never got hit by Repentance. He may be able to find an opportunity to Houndmaster, but because he was on the coin, it didn't really play in his favor. He really needed to go first in that situation, but Kolento is going to actually bring us to a tiebreaker.
All right, so Kolento is going up in the 3-way tie. That's something.
Well, he's fighting back in style, I guess. A professional player would want to be able to make it into the 3rd day of the tournament, because it looked pretty bleak for him on day 1, but now he's managed to crawl back, and he's going to have to play a few more games to secure his spot tomorrow.
All right, we'll get word from the admins. In the meantime, he'll probably have a little bit of an interview here, sharing some thoughts about the matchup and how happy he is maybe to get in that three-way tie and how confident he feels about getting up.
Thank you very much and congratulations with your winning. How do you think, at which moment you realized that you are going to win this series?
Can you repeat, please?
At what moment you realized that you definitely gonna win this series with Cipher?
I realized. I guess when I played Mysterious Challenger, that was the moment. I play it on turn 6, he wins the game, that's how it works, right?
I played the card and I won.
Before tie breaks, do you feel the confidence in your victory?
No, with the amount of bad luck I had during this tournament, I mean, I never feel confident, but especially after that.
And do you think this idea with deck bans is a really successful idea? Do you like it?
I don't mind it so much right now because Hearthstone Commander nerf will come soon. So it's basically like a conquest. People just ban Warrior. And Sivka made a weird choice by not banning the Warrior, just make the lineup this way. So I think it's like a conquest, the best of 5. It's same, so I don't mind it.
Okay, thank you very much and congratulations again and good luck in the next match. And now we go back to our casters.
All right, guys, so this will conclude at least the non-tiebreaker portion of the matches. We'll be taking a break and getting word from the admin as to what we do going forward, and we'll be back after the break, guys. Don't go anywhere.